Hello and welcome to the Bourbon Bear and the Bears' first win of the season over the Washington Commanders, 40-20. Bondo, instant reactions to what you saw there.
Well, it's a long time overdue. One. Secondly, if they can turn this corner, they have a fairly easy schedule coming up. I mean, Minnesota without Jefferson. The quarterback they want to get rid of him, which is like the worst sign. Then try to trade him to New England and other places. And then they've got the Las Vegas Raiders, which that's in Las Vegas. There'll probably be more fans there than Vegas.
They're actually in Chicago.
Well, they are.
They are in Chicago.
I screwed that up.
But no, before we go deep into the schedule here, let's take our instant reactions from the game. DJ Moore had his biggest, probably game of his career, if I haven't looked that deep at the numbers, but 230 yards on 8 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields only completed passes to 3 people in the game, 3 separate people, which I'm fine with because you did have to unlock DJ Moore, and I think they did a good job executing on that.
Well, Kmet did a hell of a job. He was blocking fantastic. I give him a lot of credit, but he says, it looks like in short situations that's his go-to guy, and Moore is his long guy, and thank God they got rid of Claypool. That was a big positive in my end. He was cancer in the clubhouse, from what I hear.
So 2 points to that Claypool notion, though. Number one, with Chase out of the offense, the Bears have consecutively scored 28 and 40 points. So I'm with you there. I think he was a big problem. Number two, why does Miami want him? So I agree with you that he is kind of a locker room, bad villain kind of guy. Miami's on this offensive hot streak, and they traded literally beans right here of just a swap of a 6th and a 7th rounder. But do you think he's going to have any success in Miami?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that Miami is, they lost their rookie running back, which, was too bad because he was playing wonderfully. And I don't see him with, going into that starting lineup with their good wide receivers. They got excellent wide receivers. He was a cancer in Pittsburgh, and we took him, and he was a cancer here. So, you think these GMs would be a little smarter than picking him up. I mean, the Bears would have just let him go anyways, but at least you got a 6th-round pick for a 7th. But I'm all for that.
Well, and I mean, that's always going to be a stay on Ryan Poles now, giving up that 2nd rounder to get Claypool. And I get it at the time, he has the physical gifts that you want a wide receiver. The Packers were trying to make a move on him. Obviously, Poles did not want that to happen. Yeah. But it's a stay on a legacy. But the good thing I liked, though, is when he realized how bad it was, he decided to move on. He wasn't going to put up with Claypool's drama. He wasn't, going to, especially with coming up in this year, the fact that Mooney or Claypool had to be paid. Yeah. Now it's looking a lot more like it's going to be Mooney, who, in the Washington game, by the way, that first play of the game, if you remember, was a deep shot to Mooney, and he just barely missed it. And I don't think it was on the throw after reviewing it. I think it was on the fact that he turned a little bit too early, tried to make a spinning catch. If he would have ran in motion, he would have caught it. But I do like that the Bears are starting to explore this playbook and take these deep shots, which is what was missing from the first 4 games.
Well, I agree with that, and I think it's important to give these guys confidence early on, like DJ Moore did. He was spectacular. And Mooney, he could have caught it. Sure, he could have. But that goes back to Fields' confidence also. And it's incredible that all these guys run the Philly wedge, and the Bears, they're over
the Philly wedge? Is that what you call it?
Well, they call it the Philly wedge.
You got the shove of brotherly love, you have the tush push. Well, I'll take that.
But Philly developed that play, and I give them credit. Put the 2 big guys back there. We had Kmet in there in that first game. I still can't believe we had 2 shots at it and didn't get it. But
so you're totally right about that. And I think that's a good sign for Getsy because he's finally realizing, okay, let's do what Justin does well. Like, let's not try to do the Aaron Rodgers playbook. Like, back to week 1, to your point. You had Kmet trying to run up the middle. Now you see the tush push. I think they ran it twice in the Commanders game, and they got it both times.
They got it both times.
Exactly.
Yeah, but their record is pretty bad on that. They're like 2-8.
But that has never been the true what that play is supposed to be. Though, they finally started doing it the way Philly does it. Until it's banned, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you don't have Kmet going motions and just take the snap without anybody behind him. But
agreed.
Again, there's a lot of positives. I give Chico Ron Rivera credit. He's an ex-Bear. He probably felt he was hanging out the track when I was there all the time, and when Luke was working there. He was a good guy when I was bartending in Highwood. He always paid, which was untrue for other Bears, but I think he's a great coach. He just he's stubbed his foot there because it was a pretty poor performance, which. Washington's. They almost beat Philly, and then they lose by 20 to the Bears, which is
So before I get to my next talking point, I do want to say one thing about the defense. We finally saw two things: number one, turnovers; number two, sacks. I think we had 5 sacks, which outnumbers our first 4 games combined. And at least the defense looks like they're playing with a new sense of identity. I guess is the best word to put it, because number one. We didn't blitz at all the first 4 games, which was, maybe we did a couple times, but now you saw the fact that Eberflus realized, okay, we can't do what we've been doing. Our defense is doing just too many mistakes. We're not getting enough pressure. Finally, you see that pressure come, and you see success. Number 2, turnovers, which we rarely saw in the first 4 games. Now you're seeing, a defense that can, tip the ball to the line of scrimmage, get a pick, whatever it's going to be. But I think, and this is a big if they show up against the Vikings, this defense, maybe they'll be, I'm not going to say a top 10 unit by any means, but I would say between 10 and 20 unit.
Well, again, and as I said, which I'm getting total abused from my first webcast, our first one when I told the Bears we're going to go over 7.5 and they were going to win the division, and I've had some emails from some, I thought, friends, but But no, if you realistically, the Bears, the worst should be 2-3, and I really believe they could have easily won Green Bay if they had a couple little breaks there, and the end result wasn't good. But 2-3 or 3-2, again, this part of the schedule is so important. You're going to lose everybody if we start falling in the tailspin, and some people at least got a little excited, and plus we got an extra 2 days off, and I think. I think that's good for the Bears. I think that's good for the coaching staff, and I think that's good for Fields. So
to that point, though, the 2-3, and that's what almost feels like a gut punch by what they saw against the Commanders. But if you were 2-3, the season is actually very salvageable. Right now, you are kind of in this limbo. You're 1-4, so you really need to win the next 2 games at any relevance. If you lose against the Vikings or the Raiders, you're kind of done. I just based on the schedule, I know it's a bold claim, but. We're also not that bad, though, where I think we're in the realm of getting Caleb still.
Well,
I don't think after watching Denver, after watching Carolina,
Carolina's they're not gonna win a game. I mean, they will get lucky, and maybe beat, somebody. But if they win one game, I'll be surprised. And the Bears, it's like last year. It's like the Blackhawks, and I don't care what you said about the Blackhawks, but they were tanking last year at the end, and they wound up getting the best player, in the last 10 years. But the Bears have pride. They've always had pride. If you're a Bear fan, you still believe. And I got a feeling that with Jefferson out, a segue into the Minnesota game here, that I think the defense will play. I think their quarterback has been much maligned, which for no reason at all. There's been talk that he's going to get traded to New England and New Orleans, and I think that's just unjust.
I thought it'd be the Jets, and I don't think it's
the Jets too. I mean, the Jets the Jets, New England were the two, and then New Orleans came up when Carr got hurt, but I think he's back. But again, I think this game's very winnable. I think there'll be a lot of scoring there. I know we're saying the defense is playing a little better, but I think the Bears will have a good game. What are your thoughts?
So going into the Vikings game right now, obviously, as I said before, it is a must-win type scenario. It's going to be bad weather in Chicago, a little bit stormy, a little bit windy. So I'm thinking, especially with it is bare weather, not snow yet though. That's the best. No. And you saw the '85, I think, NFC Championship game when it snowed. That's some of the coolest things.
Wilbur Marshall intercepted the ball, and it started snowing.
That's just like I wish I could have seen that in person. But
that was pretty cool.
With the conditions, and now that Khalil Herbert's officially out of the game. Deontay Foreman is going to be our starting back. Yeah. With the weather, I do like that we have that option, though, because we had Blasingame playing as our running back in the Commanders because we had no one available. Which is why I do respect the fact that he's actually had a good level head. He hasn't been complaining about his contract or anything like that. But Foreman, if he can deliver that workload for us, I do like what we can do on offense. It's all going to come to the defensive side of the ball, though, mainly because Kirk still has weapons. I know Jefferson's out. I get it. He can still throw the ball. He's a good quarterback. I know people give him shit, but
I think he's got the best tight end in the league, Hawkinson.
Is a very good tight end. Addison's a very good wide receiver. So the Bears can't walk into this like sleepwalking at home. Just because Jefferson's out does not mean you win this game.
No.
And the line dictates it too. I think it's right now Bears +3 at home, which is kind of terrifying.
Bears +3 and it's 44.
But this is where I think the defense can show its true colors. If they can stop the Vikings, I know again Jefferson's not there, but if you can stop the Vikings offense this week, I'm going to have a lot more faith in the Bears. Turning to that though, on the offensive side of the ball, Justin Fields needs to keep building on what he's been doing. And I think this is the point, in every Bears fan's opinion, if you have 3 straight games of, close, I know one of them wasn't over 300 yards, but close to 300 yards, he's 8 touchdowns and 1 interception over the last 2. He builds on that, then I don't think you can move away from this guy.
Well, he's still got a lot to prove, but
agreed.
What was the biggest, in my opinion, offensively, what was the biggest improvement other than Fields playing better? But what was in my opinion, second?
The line,
the offensive line.
Tevin Jenkins.
This is not rehearsed, but the offensive line against Washington, the holes they put up, and that's truly still believing yourselves. When we had the injuries and everybody thought, that was it. I thought the offensive line was the best surprise after that Washington game, and I think it will continue into the Minnesota game.
I'm so happy you brought that up because, number one, Nate Davis, he went through a lot of stuff to start the year with the missing camp and a death in the family. He looked good. Tevin Jenkins, back in that guard.
Great.
Fantastic. Now you've got Lucas Patrick out.
Right.
So we might actually see the U of I guy. I forgot his name, actually. But he might be starting at center.
How did you not know the U of I guy?
It's funny because we had an earlier pod with Kevin, and he brought it up, and I was like, oh, you're kind of right. Larry Borum is obviously serving in right now for Braxton, and he's trying his best. Darnell Wright is playing out of his mind per PFF. I am so with you. The line, if it plays like it did against the Commanders.
Whitehair is still...
he might be bopping around. I think it's center, maybe.
Yeah,
he played center when Lucas Patrick got hurt.
I understand that, but he's a solid guy. Can play anywhere on the line.
Doug Kramer, sorry.
Yeah.
He's off IR. We might see some with Doug Kramer. I'm almost saying.
Well, it's exciting. Again, we have this is again not rehearsed. This is we didn't. That just stuff. That's
I mean, the viewers, I think
they
know
they know that
we drink on the show. We don't really do.
And actually, the Bourbon Bear has finally got me some good stuff. I mean, but I guess again we feel good. I think it's going to be a great game, and let's go to 2-4.
I'm all for it. Then we have a little faith this season, get a little energy going behind the squad. But that turns us into our transition of Bondo's Bets Week 6.
Well,
after a hot on the virtual phone call Week 5.
That's 3. 3-1.
3-1.
3-1, or do we go that way? I don't know.
Whatever you want to do.
And that's 7-2.
You literally just make up the number every time.
Well, that's not true. I mean, you're a stat
guy.
You're a stat guy.
If you're 7-2, you've been doing this. We're on week 6 here.
Yeah, because I give the bonus picks. I mean, I'm giving everybody, and then
by mathematical standards, that would be like 20 picks that you have to account for.
Well, there's a lot of I have a lot of bad past, but I'm looking to the future. But 7-2, and I'm not wearing the hat today. I'm not wearing the sunglasses today because I'm so focused, all right? I mean, when you start going 7-2, I mean, Luke's web page is going crazy with and everybody's waiting for this. I mean, but here it is. Here it is. I'm going to go with Jacksonville. They're laying 4. I'm going with Detroit. I know that, but I love the coach and I love the way they're playing. I love Goff, and the guy had a lot of negatives, but he's turned into all positives. They're -3. Here's the pick you're going to laugh about, but I'm feeling pretty good about New England getting 3 against Vegas. Jimmy Garoppolo has never been the same since Brett Biondi beat him out at quarterback at the fifth grade Arlington Cowboys. And then my bonus pick is Dallas against minus 2.5 against the Chargers.
So I know you don't have the Bears, obviously, on that list, but let's get a prediction for... I know it's not going to count toward Bondo's bets, which we're going to have to audit these numbers pretty hard, but...
Yeah, we're very hard.
What is your prediction for the Bears game? Not listing on Bondo's bets.
It's not my hot pick. I do like the over. Let's go with the over. And I think the Bears will win by 1.
Wow.
They're catching 3, and I think they'll win 24-23.
Wow. Okay, I like that. That's actually not a terrible pick.
I'm a pretty good guy.
Pretty good
predictor.
That's going to go way over. I think the over-under right now is 43?
43 and a half.
43 and a half now? Okay. That being said, though, so new little segment we're going to do on the Bourbon Bear. Let's say...
This is not staged.
Your top 3 on offense or defense players this week. Your prediction.
On the Bears or all?
On the Bears.
On the Bears. Well... you got to give it to Fields.
Okay.
I really believe the defensive linebackers.
Do you know who they are?
Yeah. The guy in Buffalo, who I like. What? The guy from Buffalo. Why, did he get hurt?
No.
No.
Do you know his name?
I do know his name. I can't remember.
Jermaine Edmonds.
Played a hell of a game last week, and Jermaine will come back and play another strong game. And then... My third pick will be.
Wait, who's your first? You said
Fields.
Oh, Fields.
And my third pick is the pride of St. Viator, and I hope he's watching. He's swam in our pool before, and I didn't charge him. Cole Kmet. So those are my three picks. I mean, I don't play the stuff you guys play.
Fantasy.
No,
you do play fantasy.
No, I play fantasy, but I don't play those, odds or the crazy things.
Oh, yeah, like the first touchdown.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I have a hard enough time winning a game, let alone.
So I'm going to take a different angle on this one. Yeah. Number 1, we have Kyler Gordon coming off injured reserve. I want to see a big thing out of him. I think he's going to be a big difference maker guarding that slot. Number 2, and this is probably a long shot, but I want to see Foreman do well. Just because Khalil Herbert's out. I'm assuming Roschon Johnson's not going to play. You need to establish the run still, and they did against the Commanders.
They did.
You still need to establish a run. The line, again, to your point, looks a lot better, and you're playing a pretty trash Minnesota front line.
Defense, yeah.
I think they're, against running backs, they're pretty good. I think they're 11th in the league, but you need to establish that run early. Let Fields throw the ball. I'm all for deep shots early, but establish the run game. That's unfortunate. You got to do it. And then number 3 is going to be Fields, obviously. I'm going all offense here. Well, outside of Gordon. But Fields, if he continues the streak he's on, I think the Bears fan base and franchise is going to look a lot better come Sunday.
Well, I think you're right, and you got good points, and that's why it's the Bourbon Bear.
Exactly. When he likes bourbon, he likes the Bears.
We can't salute. We hope to see you next week, and tell all your friends about Bondo's picks.
Bondo wants to get famous on this. That's all we have time for on the Bourbon Bear. YouTube can't ban me. I'm playing my own videos in the background. So, bear down. Let's go Sunday.
Let's go Bears. Bear down, Chicago Bears.